The future of the internet is up for debate in the nation's highest court. This week, Google and Twitter will defend their legal immunity for what users post on their platforms. The families of victims killed in ISIS attacks are suing the two companies. Section 230 has been a foundational pillar of the internet since 1996, and never before has it been under such scrutiny. First, what it is. Section 230 lays out two principles for online platforms. One, that companies are not liable for harmful content posted on their sites. So if you want to sue over a post, you can sue the person who posted it, not the platform. This applies to everything from the biggest tech giant to the smallest neighborhood messaging board. And two, that companies can remove content they see as offensive or dangerous, also without legal liability, considering they do so in good faith. Now, that second part was meant to promote sensible content moderation, but politicians from both parties have issues with how it's carried out. Some on the left believing big tech isn't going far enough.
Section 230 should be revoked immediately because it is not merely an internet company. It is propagating falsehoods they know to be false.
While some on the right think big tech takes censorship too far.
Republicans, conservatives must open up our platforms and repeal Section 230 liability protection.
And while Congress could decide to reform Section 230, the lawsuits facing the Supreme Court this week attempt to shatter the shield that's protected internet companies for nearly 3 decades. Against Google, the family of American college student Nomi Gonzalez, who was killed in the Paris terror attacks of 2015, argues that YouTube failed to take down ISIS terrorist videos and even recommended them to some users. Any decision that holds Google at all liable would have far-reaching consequences on any company that uses algorithms for recommendations. Against Twitter, the family of Nadis Al-Assaf, who was killed in a 2017 ISIS attack at an Istanbul nightclub, says Twitter, Google, and Facebook acted as messaging platforms for the gunmen, whom ISIS allegedly recruited and directed to carry out the massacre. Lawyers for the companies argue there's no direct link between the websites and the two terror attacks. To date, the lower courts have agreed Section 230 protects them, but have questioned its broad scope. Conservative Justice Clarence Thomas has also challenged 230's interpretation in the past. In 2020, saying courts have construed the law broadly to confer sweeping immunity on some of the largest companies in the world, adding that extending the immunity beyond the natural reading of the text can have serious consequences, and that it would behoove the Supreme Court to one day decide the correct interpretation of 230. But just as there's bipartisan support for restructuring 230, there's bipartisan siding with big tech. Democratic Senator Ron Wyden and former Republican Representative Christopher Cox last month filed a brief in support of Google, saying a ruling against it would subject platforms to liability of all of their decisions, the very actions that Congress intended to protect. A decision on both cases will come this summer. I'm Simone Del Rosario, and in New York, it's just business.